I want to welcome you to the next episode of Peace, Love, and Bring a Bat. Today, man, we're gonna hit some fire. Just in the green room, we were just talking about all our birthdays are in, the Sagittarius fire, man. We're gonna definitely bring some fire today, learning about a lot of things, including what you could do for yourself today to get through some things as the world becomes tougher financially, but also what to do in the future. So I want to welcome two of my friends, and I've known both of these women for a couple of years. Glad to have them on the show. And how are you doing, Caramie and Julia?
I'm doing
I'm doing
amazing.
good.
So happy to be here.
Yes, I'm happy to be here as well. So good to see you, Dave.
Yeah, it's always good to see both of your smiling faces, and that you guys we had talked about what you're doing now. So why don't you catch up to us? I guess we'll start with uh Julia, and then we'll go to Caramie, just so we don't step on each other. Um, So, Julia, tell us a little bit about what you're doing.
So I started my own business last year.
Yeah,
So I went to school to become an esthetician, and then I opened up a small spa last year. So I've been on this huge journey of starting my own business and just learning a lot about myself and the kind of business I want to be. Um, I feel like that in the beginning, I'm like that serial optimistic where I'm just like, everything's going to be great. Everything's going to be perfect. Like, this is going to be so amazing. And starting your own business is really hard.
oh yeah.
I'm just realizing it. There's so much that goes into it. And so, but I just feel like I'm like destined not to fail. Like, I just feel like I'm so made for success that I was like, you know what? I'm just going to keep, finding new things and I'm just going to keep learning and everything's going to be great. So, so my business is in Salem, Oregon. And I feel like that I am more myself than I ever was before doing what I love.
That's
And I,
beautiful.
and I feel so blessed that I get to do what I love and I get to make other women feel confident and beautiful. So I would definitely feel like I'm in the right spot. But one of the things I kind of had to figure out on my own is the finances of it. I feel like as an entrepreneur, it's really up to you to build your own legacy and have your own investments and have your own savings and create your own retirement. So that's kind of like what I was going, the kind of path I was going down is just trying to figure that all out for myself.
Yeah, that's the
Um,
hardest thing to figure out. Sure.
Yeah, and also just being a single mom as well, I just felt like there was all this pressure, that I had to, have all the answers and have like a good setup for me and my children. Um, so I had met with Caramie, and Caramie and I started talking, and Caramie is so successful. And I think that's one of like my problems is that I'm always surrounded by really successful entrepreneurs like you guys, like both of you guys.
I
And
think that's never a problem. We have to feel and know we're at the point where we need to be at, right? We need to learn from somewhere. If you want to be good at something, you have to be prepared to be really bad at something. You can't we don't just walk in and we're an Olympic star, we're anything that we want to do. So I,
that's
I think that's
true.
very brave of you to even think that, you know, and thank you for saying putting me in that in Karamie's category of highly successful women. Well, I'm not a highly successful woman. No matter how hard I try, I will not be a highly successful woman. But no, highly successful. But it's because we've been in the same rooms where it's happened. We've met. I mean, that's where Caramie and I first met a couple of years ago in a room of really highly successful people. So we'll get back to you, Julia. Caramie, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and I love hearing Julia say that I'm successful, not because I just want to toot my own horn, but because I laugh when I see that the idea that we all perceive each other in different ways, right? And I remember being right where you're at, Julia, thinking, and sometimes I still do, because there's always so many different levels of success and what we quantify as like the place we want to be. And I remember being right where you're at, thinking there's all these successful people and I'm horrible at business. Like, how am I ever going to get where they've gone? Right. And so it's that internal work as well as the external that it reflects that. And I've seen you step so fully into that, especially in the few months that we've been diving in together. So it's been
Thank
so
you.
cool because, in my opinion, I look at you and I'm like, you are highly successful in what you are doing, the path you're moving. And it's no doubt in my mind that success is going to continue to flourish in your life. And so Julia came in. I'm an author. I wrote a best-selling book. Unravel and Reveal the Courage to Let Go and Discover Who You Are. And that title is so empowering to me because what I came to realize is that book it was about gathering my stories and finding the pieces of gold I had in my life so that I could put my past to rest, the past pains, the past frustrations, and resentments and things I had been holding on to. It was a way for me to see my life through a different filter. And so after writing that book, I had this blank canvas to start from of knowing that I've already won at life. And I stopped looking at it from all the ways that I wasn't already to where I wanted to be and looking at the progress I had made. And that's when I had opened up and started my business around financial literacy and being able to get out there and serve people. And so being able to bring in Julia, who I'm now seeing being able to serve so many beautiful people in her life, and even her bigger vision of being able to help people from the inside out, from the beauty to the wealth and all the ways that they can continue to thrive in their businesses. So yeah, we get the pleasure of sitting down with people, being a wealth strategist that's going to go through and help them to feel really good about where they are and where they're going and have a solid plan in place. But I feel like more importantly, to be able to see the progress that they've made, to be able to have hope again, to be able to dream again, to be able to create a vision for themselves that actually matters. So they are creating a life they truly love and not one that is designed by somebody else. And so for me, it's a blessing to be able to share this with the world and continue sharing those gifts. And I see that in every piece that you do, Julia, you, David, you guys have this incredible, unique love and light about you that is so magical in the world that the world gets to experience you in all your greatness.
Oh, well, thank you. And I think that's part of the trick, that you were saying that we get to build. Both of you had, different ways of saying it, but it's that we get to build once you get that realization. So I want to ask you, and this is a kind of a deep question, if you lost everything tomorrow, today, right after this podcast, the world comes crashing down, what would you look to rebuild first and why?
Oh, I love that question. Yeah. I have had the fortunate luck of losing things multiple times of just about everything. And that was my greatest gift. It was in realizing that I didn't need to be so attached to everything, knowing that, it's just like your breath. Your breath comes in, your breath goes out. It's like that energy of like giving and receiving to the world. So if I lost it all again, it's always comes back down, start down at the basics of how can I get out there and talk to the people in my life, utilize the skills that I have, how can I show up and serve? I think it's really important to let go of any ideas of what we think it needs to look like because I heard a saying once from an author, I forget his name, but he's like, the how is for the cows, right? We're the racehorses out there who get to decide where we go and we get to follow the wind, and the wind will guide us to what we need to know. And so the idea that we are these powerful creators and we have everything we need right inside of us. I would start picking up the phone and calling people and asking, how can I be of service to you? How can I add value to your life today? And showing up and listening to those little sparks of inspiration, being where I need to be and trusting that life has my back.
Yeah, the magic of the universe. We were talking in the green room, really just, how me personally, I feel I lost everything. Most people would be, devastated with the losses, and somehow you figure out a way to get back to yourself, and rebuild.
Yeah.
And so Julia, what would be an answer like for yourself? So when you know, it sounds like, you've had some challenges in life, and
Yeah.
how do you rebuild?
I feel like the biggest thing for me is just rebuilding that mindset. So coming back from some place where you're losing a lot or you feel like you're on shaky ground and you're having to start over, just having the right mindset is really going to help you go far. Just knowing that those things are materialistic or that you're going to become a better person by starting over. I feel like that I was in an event and some guy said something really powerful to me, not to me, but to the room. And I don't remember who said it, but he knows who said it. And he said that he was given the gift of adversity. And I felt like that was so, like, I resonated with that so much because that's how I felt. In my life, I felt like I've been given the gift of adversity. And instead of it destroying me, I felt like it has really helped me become a better person. And it has really empowered me to become so much more than I ever thought I would be because of all the adversities and all the challenges. It has really made me just really like dig into my heels and be who I was supposed to be.
Yeah, that's a fun for those who have had adversity, and most everybody has, if they want
Yes.
to admit it. But the realization and learning how to be who you are, your most authentic self. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
bring the bat part. That's what it is. It's about being authentic today. How do you find yourself, Julia, to be your most authentic self?
Um, I feel like when I'm my most authentic self, I feel like I'm doing what I love. So I feel like when I'm doing something that I love, it just feels so peaceful to me. So when I'm at work and I'm helping clients in my treatment room, I feel like that's me being myself. When I'm with other people that I am like inspired by, I feel like I'm being myself. And I can tell that I am myself because I feel so at peace with who I am and the people that I'm around.
Yeah, that's a great answer. And Caramie, so when you're your most authentic self, what does that feel like? What does that taste like? What does that mean to you?
Yeah, I would say that it's a peaceful feeling in my body for sure. It's kind of when you see the world from a non-reactive point of view and you can just sit in that place of peace and calm and have that internal self-love that's happening and is reflecting into life out there. And I like to think of it as like when I am in a space of constant gratitude, I am truly being who I actually am at a soul level, and that reflects and it shows up everywhere in my life. So I'm always looking for that signal of like, am I inherently relaxed and grateful to be here and to be alive at this gift that we've been given.
How do you allow yourself to relax? Right? Everybody says you just have to relax. I remember when I was learning how to do some mediumship, and the professor, the teacher, had said you just have to surrender. I'm like, okay, great. I'm willing to surrender. How? So, as a human being, how do you surrender? And it's hard at times, but there's
Yeah.
times we do surrender. When that's almost when we're at our broken part, the Phoenix moment that I talk about often. What do you do? Each one of you, what do you do when you're at that moment? How do you start to rebuild those, that life?
Yeah. The relaxation in the body is definitely a piece of, I feel like we're so connected to our body's physiology that when the relaxation is happening, it really is like through the breath more than anything, through the breath to soften our bodies to, I'm always checking in with my stomach, like, am I clenching? Am I tightening? Am I allowing? Or am I having an open, peaceful presence. You can always tell somebody's walking down a street and they just like look tight and tense and they just look like they're
Mm-hmm.
going forward and it's like they're so unaware of their presence of their body. And then versus somebody who's just open, you can see the posture, you can see the shift. You will tend to notice it because you'll feel more open and relaxed when you're around them versus tight and intense. We pick up on everyone else's energy. So yeah. What about you, Julia?
It's very true. Yeah, I think the breathing is one of the best things. And also just having like just getting to that point where you have that clear mind. And for me, I feel like if I can reflect back on how far I've come and the fact that I'm not in the future, I feel like sometimes I get so wound up. I think about the future and I have to just think about like the present. Like where am I today? Like who am I today? And I feel like it really grounds me in thinking about that.
Yeah, you don't realize it. It's that self-awareness. I didn't realize it. That where Caramie had mentioned about like where we hold our breaths. There's times when you do something. Even when you're working out, you have to remember to breathe. Right, it's a healthy taking care of our body, but I know for myself when I'm lifting or I'm doing something, there's times I notice that I'm holding my breath. And once you can know how to release all the things that you need to release, that's to me is one of those hardest things when I have to release the intentions. I think Julia, you mentioned it earlier before, you stay very present, not too far in the future, not too far in the past. And that's hard for a lot of people. How do you do how do you then keep moving forward, Julia, as you're moving through this adversity?
How do I keep moving forward? Just one step at a time. I just always remember like who it is I want to be and like where I want to go. And I feel like that's what motivates me to just keep moving forward and just not having a lot of pressure on myself. Sometimes I feel like I like put pressure on myself that I have to succeed and I have to do well. And although that is true, I do think that I am going to succeed and I will do well. I don't need to be, living in that pressure, all the time. So just to just remind myself of that.
It also reminds me of like the airplane. The airplane has its target of where it knows it wants to go, this future vision of who we want to be, and which to me is more about remembering who we really are. And when an airplane's moving, it's constantly going off course and having to remember to refocus, which that is all about staying in that present moment, like Julia's saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's what we have to do is but that awareness. Now I know you both work with entrepreneurs. So what would you what advice would you give to entrepreneurs like Julie was saying, didn't realize working for myself was going to be so hard.
So hard.
What do you wish every entrepreneur knew about their capacity to like create wealth and, about their background? How to, with doesn't matter their background, how do they create and how do they not feel it as heavy as we've been talking about? Those future things sometimes makes us feel a little bit too heavy.
I think the most important thing is just having an open mind and just be willing to learn new things. I feel like when we're entrepreneurs, sometimes we think that we know everything and we know exactly where we want to go and how to get there. But sometimes that's not true. Sometimes we have to learn and like step back and become a student so that we can move forward. So I think that's one of the biggest things I would say.
How about you, Caramie?
I love that, Julia. Yeah, definitely being a student, like there's something really powerful around when we can humble ourselves. I think I heard this from somebody that if you can't be willing to be stupid and be the one who doesn't know everything again, like you'll never be successful. I think if you've ever looked into golf, like in professional golf, most professional golfers will stay, they'll get to a certain point and they'll get into the top 10%. But about 80% of professional golfers can never get to the top 1%.
Mhm.
And the reason for that is because in order for them to get to that to get to that 1% would require them to learn a completely different swing, which means they would have to go back to square one, become a beginner at what their craft is, and learn a completely different way in order to do that. And so that's the humbling moment of saying, hey, I'm willing to be the student again. I'm willing to look dumb. I'm willing to fall on my face. I'm willing to have everyone question and doubt me and all the things come at me because I believe in myself enough to go, hey, I get to learn how to do this differently so I can become that 1%. And in order to do that, we have to shift our mindset. We have to be really look at the way we are showing up and being in the world, from the things that we say to the things that we do. Are we being that frequency and that energy of a person who actually can succeed at that level? And so it requires that level of humbleness, which I find enjoyable now because I can laugh at myself through the process. And luckily, I have people like Julia who can laugh at my mistakes with me as we're going through this and
What
stop
mistake?
taking life so seriously, right? And that's what I would say. It's like, yeah, we can play serious at business, and I do. We can play serious at a lot of things, but can we also play serious at play? Can we relax and let life be enjoyable and get seriously playful? And there's an energy there that opens up that allows us to learn through failure.
100%. I mean, I think you're both also saying it just differently. You just got to know your resources also, knowing that the who has your back. But really, and that's the biggest trick I feel as an entrepreneur. Who has your back? There's a lot of people who want to pat you on the back when you're doing really, really well. But when you're feeling less or you're not doing as well as other people show that they're doing, you're kind of, it gets a little, the weight becomes really tough. And I think that's where we need to do is just know what our resources are, but know our capabilities. So like when Julia started earlier, she if she looks at her life, I would guarantee you, and I'll challenge you, Julia, looking at your life and looking at all the successes that you have, and where you started off saying, oh, how Caramie and David are, I bet you're just as successful in so many areas of your life that maybe I'm not, right? So it's not just that one area as an entrepreneur, and acknowledging that there's a power and authenticity when we can acknowledge, hey, I'm not as good as I'd like to be, and move forward through that.
Yes, yeah. And I think the idea of entrepreneurs feeling like they need to be busy all the time and they need to be working all the time, and that's the only way they're going to have success. That's one thing that I feel like I had to kind of relearn is that being busy all the time and having this like jam-packed schedule where you're seeing 12 clients in one day, that to me is no way to live. Like overworking and just feeling like, you're just burning the candle at both ends. That's just, it's not a good way to live your life. The whole reason why you're an entrepreneur is to make your own schedule and to work when you want to work. So why are you overworking? Like, why are you working so much
Right.
all the
Most
time?
people are trading off a 9 to 5, a traditional 9 to 5, but I get to work for myself. Well, you don't get to work for yourself because if you're not successful, if you're not finding your resources or utilizing those resources, you're just working just as hard as anybody else. But now it becomes only you holding that bag. So I know you guys are financial gurus and experts. What would you do, or what would you say could be the best help for not only entrepreneurs, but for the average person to really know and how they can dig a little further into their own, uh, I guess, authenticity, but also to make sure their goal is where it should be going?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, one of the biggest things I see with the clients that come in is that they don't even know where they're going. So how are you going to get where you want to go if you don't know where you're going? And so a lot of the process is uncovering their vision and the direction they want to go. But what's really fascinating is how many people have an idea of what they want, but it's not actually truly what they want. It's something that somebody else designed or said would be awesome, but when we start diving in and digging a little bit deeper, we often find that there's a piece of their heart that maybe they haven't expressed before, or something. Not everybody wants to be a millionaire or multimillionaire or whatever. A lot of people say they do. But then when they create it, they're like, oh, I didn't realize it came with these type of responsibilities or these, like, they think it's going to be so much easier. And what they don't understand is the management behind that and what it actually could change or mean for their life in some ways. And so everyone has a different threshold of what they truly want. And so finding a way to align that with their values and what they really care about, I think is absolutely first and foremost key. And then getting to them to understand the importance of what it means to value themselves and invest in themselves first and foremost. Too often we have a society that's so used to just giving money to all these other things in their life that they forget the importance of funding and investing in themselves and showing that, and it reflects in their finances. And so it's really neat process as we get to create this custom roadmap for them to understanding where they're aligning their values, where they're aligning their vision, and if they're really on track for the life that they say they want.
So how do you keep on track? Because it's really easy to say I want those things. I mean, even the example you used about all the professional golfers. I mean, I remember hearing a story about Pete Sampras when he was a tennis player. For those who don't know, he was number one in the world, and he says, "I want to get better." And his coach is like, "What do you mean? You're number one. There really is no number above one." He goes, "But they're all coming after me." How do we create to make sure that we're on the right path, but even when we're on the right path, to make sure that we continue for our true North Star and continue our growth?
Yeah, being on the right path. I mean, I feel like that's something that evolves over time, right? Actually reminds me of Back to the Gap. Have you ever heard the concept of the gap and gain by Benjamin Hardy?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the gap and the gain, if we are living over here and we have this idea of what we want and what it's going to be, and we're always measuring ourselves from down where we are, where the problem with that is you'll never get what you want because that thing, as you grow and evolve as a human being, that thing you want changes and shifts, right? That North Star of yours might have a different element that maybe you didn't see before. There might be a new light shining down upon it that you're like, oh, actually now involves this, or wow, this piece that I thought would I would love, it's actually going to be taken away. So this North Star is always this refinement of who you are. And so it's so important to measure yourself from the progress you've made getting closer to that because you're never going to truly get over here to this part if you're constantly measuring yourself to where you like where you are now and thinking you need to be there now. So the more that we can measure our progress and then continue to refine that alignment, it's really about just staying in connection with that, with who you deeply are. And I believe remembering who you actually are. As we remember more of what our innate soul is and why we're here, those parts of us peel away. The things that are not meant for us fall away. The things that are meant for us come to us. And so it's really about having that deep faith in the unknown and being willing to take that step and that action one step at a time that feels right for you. And that's a forever evolving pathway that's actually makes, to me, that's the joy of living and the joy of life is that we get to walk that path.
Yeah, no, for sure. The finish line keeps moving. There is no finish line because really, as you said, with that growth, what you thought of even $1 million, right? Everybody who's not making that is going, oh my God, I want to do that. Doesn't realize how hard it is, but two, even if you do realize how hard it is, when you get there, you're like, okay, that's not where I want to be. I want to be at two, four, six, or whatever number might be satisfying to them. How do you stretch your goals, Julia, to, it doesn't have to be financial, but how do you recognize your goals and then stretch those to make sure that you're continuing to grow?
Um, I feel like with a lot of the goals that I have, I feel like if I have small goals that I can achieve, it's a little bit easier for me than to have these like big picture items. But one of the things that I've also learned as being an entrepreneur is a lot of the times I found myself waiting for an opportunity when you really just need to create the opportunity yourself.
Nice.
So sometimes like your goals are, all these different things, but if you can just create it yourself and create the opportunity, sometimes you can achieve your goals in other ways that you didn't think were possible.
That's a great answer. Yeah, recognizing those things, that's a really, it's difficult because a lot of people don't, if they're living outside their body, and you both are talking about really living within your body, within your goals, and understanding who you are. And because again, the financial pieces, how do we make sure we're on those right tracks? How often would you recommend, besides bringing in people like yourselves into their lives, but how often would you recognize or want to look at how all to make sure you're on the right path? You don't want to say okay every year, but then the rest of the year you go completely off. Using even that airplane analogy, you go too far off track, you're gonna cost yourself a lot more.
Yeah, absolutely. I love my CEO morning meetings that I get to have with myself and with the different,
Mm.
Julia, some of these different amazing people I get to work with, where we get to take a high overview look at what we're doing and really game plan and really stay like are our actions aligned with what we say we want to have and where do we need to follow up, where do we need to continue that? But to me, it goes even deeper than that because it's a daily practice. I have a little goal card in my bedroom that I speak out loud to myself every day. I have different statements of gratitude and things that I get to deepen into that vision. So for me, it is a non-negotiable daily practice to continue to refine that. And I find myself as many times as possible throughout my day as I'm contemplating and just visualizing the life that I know that is coming to me and I'm creating because I'll find that through those moments or something will happen in life and it will give me little synchronicities or little reminders of like, oh yeah, I'm on track. Oh yeah, I'm on track. So the more that I can flood my mind with that image of what it is that I want and what it is that I'm creating, I'm now no longer focused on what doesn't work or the fear or the frustrations of life. I'm focused on what I know is meant for me. I'm focused on the vision and the growth, and I'm focused on seeing the reflection of life saying, "Yep, this is for you. Yes, this is for you." And it's constantly helping me pivot through life. So, as many times as you can to stay connected. I think I heard a thing saying from Elevate Worldwide, they were talking about how 80% of the world lives in the left side of the brain. Not to confuse the right side as the creative and left side logical, but I mean the left side of thinking, meaning that they look at life as looking for what's not working, looking for what's wrong, what's like it's a place of fear, a place of lack that they're looking at the lens through. And about 20% of people look at life through what's going right in the world, what's working well. And when you focus on what you want, we have heard this before, what you focus on expands. But
Mhm.
it's in a whole nother game to as much as possible, like every second you can remember and putting those triggers around you and in your mind to bring you back to focusing on what you want, from everything from the love that you want to feel in the moment, from the way you want your body to relax and enjoy your present, to be able to look at, the money that is coming in, the money that you're growing, to looking at the food that you're falling in love with as you eat, every little moment of your day that you get to look at what's here for you, and life is here to bless you.
100%. That's beautiful. How about you, Julia?
Yeah,
How do you feel?
it just makes me think of that saying where your mind goes, your energy flows.
Mm, yeah.
It makes me think of that. But yeah, just gratitude is really huge. I think that I have to remind myself, on a daily basis, that I get to live the life that I want. I get to get up in the morning and have the appointments that I set, because I want to meet with them.
Right.
I have appointments where, I get to help people with their skin goals and, I don't have anyone over me, trying to micromanage me. And so I always have to remind myself that like I get to live the life that I want to live. And just like being really grateful of that and that I'm creating something really special, for my kids. And creating something from scratch is not it's not easy at all. But just like having that gratitude and just being thankful for every moment that you have. I think that's really huge. Just focus on like what it is that's going right, like Cammie said.
Well, I think what I keep hearing from you guys, and it's beautiful. Because I have a friend, Matthew Arau, who has the power of get, and you both use that so often. I get to do it. So no matter what's happening, I get to do, and you both seem to be getting exactly what you want because you're putting in a lot of energy and seeing the rewards that you're able to again by working at it. And while you're working at it, you're also living some lives that are pretty exciting in and of themselves. You're doing a bunch of traveling. Caramie wrote a book, a best-selling book, and that's really how we keep growing. So, what's something in the future that you both have that you're aspiring to, or is part of that North Star that you might not have seen at the beginning of the journey?
I love that question. Yeah, I've been building up an academy that has been on my heart for many, many years now, and it's something that I'm excited to see flourish. I actually told Julia the other day, I was like, I could totally see it. Your spa is like at the bottom of this like, beautiful building, and it's like they walk in and they get to see the way that you give and love on people, and just the magic that she has to create while helping the simultaneously entrepreneurs, especially in that space, be able to create wealth for themselves. And so this, this academy where we get to bring, the sacred to the impossible and be able to be the people that we need to be into the world. I'm just it's going to be magical, and I'm continuing this journey of getting out and supporting entrepreneurs and growing their wealth and growing their vision, their mission. I'm just really excited for what the future holds, but what the now holds too, and the people that we're serving. We it's such a gift to be able to serve the people we get to today, to give back hope and to start showing another way.
Yeah, that's awesome. How about you, Julia? So, what are the things that you get to do to meet your own personal your North Star, to make sure that you're following your North Star.
Well, one of the things that I was trying to find on my own is just that financial education so that I could be the best entrepreneur I could be. When I did that, I was able to unlock so much information, so much knowledge that I was like, I want to share this with other people in my industry, other estheticians, other people in the beauty world, and help not just, entrepreneurs, but specifically like estheticians and other people in the beauty industry that are in cosmetology. Because those are people that, of course, like have a very similar goal and vision that's like mine, and that have the same struggles that I have. So that's something that I would love to do. And I'm really excited to help everyone, anyone that I can.
All right, that's awesome. I know you've given us a lot of information during this interview. What's one thing that we might not have spoken about that you're still so passionate about, and you want to make sure everybody hears about it?
There's so much gold that I could bring to that question. But I think at the core of it is really get in tune with who you are and what you want. And if there's a story or a belief that is stopping you from allowing that full expression of you to come out, or there's a part of you that doesn't believe that this could be for you, or the life that you want doesn't feel like it's within grasp, like it's this far out thing. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk, because there's something so magical in you that is asking to be to burst through. Um, it really comes down to that belief in yourself. And so if there's a story that you are holding on to, take a look at that and ask yourself if you're ready to put the past behind you.
I love that. How about you, Julia?
Um, So yeah, so for me, I feel like that there's so many people who may have experienced something that I have, but just to live the life that you want to live and to live it authentically, and to not let any type of setbacks get you down. Um, for me, when I was right when I got divorced, I was kind of in this like crossroads of what I was going to do with my life and who I was going to be. And I could have just gone to, like a typical corporate job and worked a 9 to 5. But for me, I thought, well, but I want to spend time with my kids. I still want to do the things that I want to do. And I was surrounded by so many great entrepreneurs. I'm like, I'm just going to go back to school and become an esthetician and just start my own business. And because of that, here I am today, years later, where I get to work with all these beautiful people. I get to inspire people, and I get to like have my own schedule. So if there's people out there that are listening and they feel the same way, they're kind of at a crossroads where they don't know what to do and they're afraid. I hope that you feel more empowered and more confident to just take a chance and just, go for it and just live the life that you want to live with no apologies.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, of course. One of the things, so when I talk about it, and I'll give you guys a heads up, I'm going to ask you for an R word. And where that goes with tying to everything is risk well, right? So it's not just taking a risk. A lot of entrepreneurs, as we both know, yeah, I'm going to take a risk. And when they fail or don't receive the end result that they would like, they're confused. What did I do? Or it's not meant for me, rather than reassess and do things. Because actually, the shirt I'm wearing today, I'll just move my camera a little bit. Is there's always an R in your heart, and I haven't. I've been using that on the podcast a while. I haven't done it in a while, and I thought about it today, speaking to you both, knowing that I was going to speak to both of you, because I think you both have risked well. While things have set you back, you then had to reassess. And that's why it would, that maybe it won't be your favorite R word because I put you on the spot, but could you think of an R word, a letter that's a word that starts that you think that would be really powerful for somebody that needs to think about and reconnect with themselves?
I'll go first. So my R word that I thought of would be rise. So yeah, just rise, stand up, be brave, face your fears and just overcome.
I love it. That's one of my favorite words.
It is? Okay.
Yep. Actually,
Is
the
it?
shirt. Yeah, if you look, I'll move the
Oh
camera.
my gosh,
It
that's
says
so
rise.
funny.
Yeah,
Oh my
dun dun
God.
dun. We found another connection. Not only are we born, our birthdays, the date of our births are 2 days apart. That's all we'll say. We're definitely not going to mention the year. My year is a lot higher number than yours. How about you, Caramie?
One of my favorite R words lately is rooted. Being rooted in love,
Hmm.
rooted in who we are. Because when we grow those branches really deep, we can allow ourselves to grow through the wind and be kind of move with the wind without having to uproot our core. So,
Those were both great R words. Now, as we start wrapping up the episode, is there anything that we might not have hit during the episode that you want to leave one more gem? I know, Caramy, when you mentioned earlier about having so many gems, and I'm sure Julia also, as you start thinking about it, there's one more. So I always go, let's pretend we're walking into a magic garden. We're gonna plant one more seed. What's the one seed? And you might have more than one. I hear it, and you want to plant more than one. I'll let you do that as well. But is there one more seed that you can give us that we can grow and think about over and over again and mature?
yeah, I think like at the end of the day, if you are having shame or fears or all frustrations, these feelings that feel stuck, and you just keep finding yourself cycling, don't be afraid to ask for support.
Mm.
Reach out to somebody, be willing to make the call. Me and Julie are here. We offer a complimentary analysis where we can go through with you to help you feel comfortable. If there's someone in your life that you feel like you trust, that loves you, that you know you love, reach out. Don't You are never a burden to anyone in this life. Like, you are enough. You're more than enough. You're worth it. And so if you can show yourself that you're worth it by asking for that support, asking yourself to take that next step into what you most want, that's where freedom lies on the other side of that decision.
Love that. How about yourself, Julie?
Um, I was just thinking of it, and then I got so caught up in what Caramie was saying. Hold on a second. Oh, okay. My last. Oh, I had such a good nugget. Hold on. Maybe it's
No,
gonna come to me.
I know it's so tough at times. You're like during the whole interview, you're like, all right, I got this. I'll say this later. Don't worry, don't worry.
I
And then,
know. I'm gonna be
then you're like,
messaging you later. Be like,
uh,
oh, okay.
so maybe I'll help you. Yeah,
That helped me.
yeah. No, in that, what's one thing that became an aha moment that worked towards your growth? You know, like that one moment you mentioned about a divorce and some transitions. That there's that one day, and it only might be for one moment that you're just like, man, I got this. You know, or I could see through the fog, the.
Yeah, it came back to me.
Okay, great. I knew we could.
Okay. Okay. So for me, I was just telling Karen this yesterday, and I feel like maybe other people can relate to this. I just felt like I just kept making the same decisions over and over and over again. And it just
Mm.
kept bringing me back to the same spot over and over and over again. And people are always, there's like that saying, if you keep making the same choice, it's like you're obviously going to come back to the same tree. But for some reason, it just really hit me recently, a few months ago. So that's exactly what I was doing. I was just kept making the same decision, thinking that I was going to get a different outcome. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to do something totally different. And every time I'm afraid and every time I'm scared and I'm like, I don't know if this is right. I don't know if this is the right choice. I'm like, I'm just going to do it. And, I just kept making right hand turns instead of lefts. So,
That's
That's
powerful.
awesome. Yeah, that's powerful. But recognizing that is the biggest power that we have is recognizing the choices. Sometimes we make the same choices over and over again because we're so comfortable with them. It's
mhm,
the opportunities to learn and grow and see and even hold ourselves accountable. Holding ourselves accountable is really important.
yeah,
You did.
absolutely.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna wrap up this episode, and I just want to say thank you so much. There are so many gems. I can't wait to listen to it again, just to kind of do that. And I'll reach out, and I would definitely highly recommend everybody reaching out to both Julia and Caramie. They have so much knowledge on a number of things. and you just want to connect with them so much, what's the best place that they can connect with you guys?
Yeah, they can connect with me on my website. It's my name, Caramie Ann, A-N-N. So Caramie, Ann, A-N-N, bake.com. And then obviously through not obviously, but Facebook, Instagram, I'm on those platforms. Julia, what about you?
The same. So if you want to reach me on Facebook, I'm there as Julia Payan, or on Instagram is my business name, which is Just Be Gold Spa. So you can find me on Instagram there.
All right. Well, thank you both so much.
Thank
And I
you.
really appreciate the opportunity to speak with you guys again, connect with you guys. You guys are really among the best energies that I've always been around, and just always uplifting for me personally when I get to talk to you guys.
Thank you. Yes, it's great to be here. Thank you so much.
So wonderful.
Right. And for everybody else, as always, bring peace and love into your life. And when you bring a bat, be awesome today and know your boundaries and swing for the fences and hit your sweet spot. Thank you so much.